We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is, Season 4, Episode 5. Welcome indeed to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go, sports bar. Brandon Carnes here, Justin Felkett, Mason Lowry. You know the names, you know the faces, and we are here to get you going into football season. Now, what, week 5 of the season? And
Where's
I
the
want to know,
time gone?
Where has the time? You know, just when you're having fun, time flies. I want to know where you guys stand on how the season is going. What is your most open conference you think in the area? Anybody can win it. There were some great matchups last week that maybe opened this up a little bit more in my eyes.
Yeah, for me, it's the NLL Cardinal division.
Yeah.
Because Bowling Green possibly notwithstanding, you can make a legitimate case for any of the other 4 teams in that division to go out and win the thing. And I will include Springfield in that, despite Gabe Gregory's awful injury the other week, and hopefully he gets well soon. They've still got Logan Goodrick, and you maybe see him a lot more involved in the offense because he's a really dynamic guy. But, I mean, we'll talk about Napoleon later. They've played so well defensively. Fremont Ross is really good defensively. Yeah. And Southview, as they get healthier, they're going to be able to make some noise in the Cardinal. They're so small, it's difficult for them to compete physically against the Buckeye Division teams. But against schools their own size, I think they're going to be all right.
Yeah,
you
up front,
about that. Yep.
Their offensive line struggled. Their quarterback's under harassment all the time. All right, I came up with what I think maybe a creative way to answer this question by our esteemed host. All right, so
oh shucks,
I will not include the BBC because that's Liberty Benton's to win or lose, depending on your perspective. NWAL, Liberty Centers. CHSL, Detroit Catholic Central. Northern Buckeye Conference, Oak Harbor. TAC, Whiteford.
Yep.
So I came down to 3. Cardinal division of the NLL was on there. I'm narrowing it down. I say Napoleon or Fremont Ross.
Okay.
NLL Buckeye, I think in order, Perrysburg, Whitmer, Anthony Wayne. I still think it's a toss-up.
Yep.
We had the question posed, do we think it could be a 3-way tie like it was in
Finley's
the first
still 3-1
iteration of this? Yep, you could throw in Finley. I still think give it to Perrysburg, Whitmer, Anthony Wayne ahead of Finley as of right now. And then I'll throw in the Sandusky Bay Conferences, all 3 of their divisions, the Lake Bay and River. In the Lake, I think Bellevue, Perkins, Sandusky, Tiffin, Columbian could win it. Bay, Edison, Huron, and Vermilion could win it. In the River, Gibsonburg, Hopewell, Loudon, and Woodmore. I think all of them could win it.
And don't forget about the City League because Start and Lima Senior are back to the pack a little bit this year, don't you think?
Yeah, looking at the City League, Lima Senior 2-2, but they've only scored 20 points. That's the highest point total they've reached all season. This is not the Lima Senior offense we saw last season.
That's shocking to me because it's a system offense, not a player-led offense. It's all about the system.
So much statistical last season for him, but you got Start, Waite, Scott, Woodward, Bowser, all 1-3 on the season. Scott, of course, beating Start last week. A lot of fun going on. A lot of these leagues wide open. We love it. Keeps us entertained every single week. Keeps us plenty of stuff to talk about. You got something?
Just a very quick sidebar. Something I noticed earlier this week.
Yeah.
Through 4 weeks, Woodward has more computer points than Central Catholic.
I saw that.
That is bizarre to me.
I have that.
We're in the twilight
notes.
zone right now.
Yeah, it is insane. Again, a testament to the schedule that Central Catholic has played to where they are right now. We've got plenty coming up. We'll wrap up week 4, get you ready for week 5, our clip of the week, our game of the week, and so much more. Make sure you're here every single Wednesday for a brand new episode of the BCSN Nation podcast, or go to bcsnnation.com/podcast, or anywhere your little ears hope to listen to our voices. And make sure you follow at BCSN Sports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. And now we'll get into overreactions, underreactions, see you guys testing where I am. And I think right now Toledo is still a top choice as a group of 5 playoff team. There are no top 25 AP teams that are group of 5. The Rockets' only loss, if they get to that point, would be a road loss in Lexington.
Yeah, I think this question can be answered similarly to how you alluded to computer points for playoff points at the high school level. Same thing applies for UT. Here's how I think they get to where Boise State was last year as that group of 5 team that crashed the party. UT needs to win at least 11 games, in my opinion. That includes the MAC championship game. So not necessarily winning out. I think you can still get to 11, get in that MAC championship game. And then you need to have all the teams that you beat in these successive weeks then win out.
Have
kind of
success,
you got to have a ledger of wins against teams that are not 2-10,
and hope Kentucky has played well.
Yes, all that type. Yeah, exactly, and make that loss to Kentucky look good in the eyes of a committee going forward. But as you compare them to other Group of Fives, here's the list: South Florida, Tulane, Memphis, North Texas, UNLV, and Navy.
Yes,
those teams are 2-1, and then 3-0 for all of them. South Florida is the 2-1 team.
Tulane, the highest ranked in the AP poll
Correct.
so far.
So you're going to have that who'd you beat, when did you beat them, increase that strength of schedule. But it's really kind of the MAC, whether that's Toledo or Ohio, I think, are the two teams at the top right now.
Those two are a class of their own, I think.
Versus the American Conference, because that's where you got Memphis and North Texas and UNLV and Navy. And I will say, Mason, when I was trying to answer this question, do the prep and research, I had to go look at which teams, which schools are in which leagues, because there's been so much realignment. You don't know. Like, is UNLV a power? I don't know. I have to go look.
Yeah,
there's been so much movement.
Yeah, and all the talk about the Pac-12 reinventing itself, that doesn't happen for another year. So there's only 2 teams left, and one of them, Toledo, is going to play Washington
State. They play
State
each other twice this year. That crazy sidebar.
Yeah, that is very strange to me. To me, the short answer to your question, are they still a front runner, is absolutely not, because it's, to your point, Justin, it's like this Rube Goldberg device of stuff that has to happen in order for them to get back into the conversation. And unlike the South Floridas and Tulane, they've got wins over Duke and Northwestern. That's so much more impressive than anything on paper Toledo will do the rest of the year. The MAC is, strength of schedule-wise and all that, the worst conference in FBS. That's just a point of order and a matter of fact. And their only non-conference game they'll have left is a Washington State team that just lost by 49 to North Texas.
Yeah, that team is completely redoing everything they do.
If you go out to Pullman and you win, what have you done? You can flens Akron and UMass and Ball State every week, and it's just not going to matter much, because your one chance for a signature win you didn't get.
Yeah.
To me, that's, no matter what they do and no matter how impressively on paper they might end up winning the rest of their games, I don't see how they overcome their only chance for a signature win not getting it done. They picked a bad game to have a bad game offensively, and I don't see it. Even at the start of the year, when you start to look at some of the metrics of percentage-wise, power rankings and everything, Toledo started the year in ESPN, correct me if I'm incorrect, a 3% chance of being that team. So they had no margin for error anyway, and as far as I'm concerned, that's out the door.
Well, fingers are still crossed, because we sure would love.
As an alum, yes, absolutely. But in my heart of hearts, I don't see it.
Hey, listen, all right. Defense is only giving up 240 yards a game. Offense scoring 40 points a game, putting up 464 yards a game. I got plenty of notes about guys that are playing their butts off, but we got to keep this thing rolling to somebody who played their butt off last week, and that is our Player of the Week, brought to you by Dun Chevy. Sean's is last year. Anyway, let's go hit the thing. Here we go. Jayden, Houston, we have no problems. A great game. You like that? On Friday for Jayden Houston. 3 catches, 75 yards, a pair of touchdowns, including a dazzling one-hander in the corner of the end zone. A great job for him. A catalyst for this offense that we'll talk about later has so many weapons. I want you to guess. All right, I'll tell you right now. Jayden Houston has 15 catches this season. Do you know how many of those are touchdowns?
6.
$1, Bob.
8. Over 50% of Jayden Houston's catches this season have been in the end zone. That's directly from Coach 𝗦𝗫𝗀, so if I'm wrong, you can take your arguments to him.
I want to know his yards per catch now.
Yeah.
Are those a ton of big, huge 40-yard and up scores, or is he getting a lot of short little slants?
I'd go north of 20.
Yeah, I know a couple of them have been shorter that I've seen, but yeah, he had a 40-yarder. He had a 20-yarder, both of those for touchdowns. He is a spark plug, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Talking to him on Monday for Player of the Week, he talked about sitting behind guys like Raheem Brown and being excited to learn from those guys, and now it's my chance to go out, show out, and he was so appreciative of the community coming out and supporting him.
I wrote two words: developed and earned. He has developed and earned his way into this category, and he's been there since his 8th grade year. We've seen transfers at the high school level and how that plays out. St. Francis has a couple transfers on their program, on their team. But Jayden has earned every bit of the respect that he's gotten across the league, across our area, across our BCSN network. Developed and earned. Way to go, Jayden.
He's just so much fun. He's a big-bodied kid. He's not, a little speedster. He's a big-bodied kid. I'm interviewing him like, I need to put this camera up a little bit higher. I didn't realize Jayden Houston had that size on him.
Get him to the strongman this weekend.
Hey, yeah. Where we go. Little shameless promo to keep it going. We'll do another 30 seconds of shameless promo right back after 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it. Let's go.
Buffalo Wild Wings, buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. Go, go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Talking about those wide open NLL schedules. Boy, a fun one last Friday, especially if you are a Wildcats fan. Napoleon taking down Clay 23-15, and the pendulum swung early. Quentin Maynard, first drive of the game for Clay. House call the other way on an interception on a little screen play, and those turnovers, the 2 pick sixes by Saucer and Maynard, the story of this game really for Clay.
Oh, 100%. And I don't know, this is definitely anecdotal. I don't have the research over years and years, but it just seems like defensive scores and special team scores have impacted the first 4 weeks of high school
I was
football.
thinking that exact thing. It's an epidemic around Northwest Ohio. It's happening everywhere.
Blocked punts, punt returns,
So with the amount of players that have impacted for Clay and Napoleon, what I like about them is they have been able to win in a variety of ways or compete in a variety of ways. This Anthony Wayne team put 28 points on St. John's a few weeks ago, and then Anthony Wayne put 7 on Napoleon in a loss, yes, but still for them to be able to play defensively and score points, for them to get George Agers back. Remember, they went for a large stretch, if you include the preseason scrimmages, as you're trying to gel your chemistry together.
Figure out who you are.
They didn't have him. And he came back, found his way into the end zone this past week. Great to see him. His hamstring, I guess, is healed enough for him to make an impact. So Napoleon, I think, is well-tooled for the Cardinal Division stretch run here towards the second half of the season.
And I think maybe the most important player in the area on any team maybe is Hayden Grohl because of the lack of George Agers the first 4 games. And now you can pick and choose when you use him on offense.
Exactly
you can play him full-time defensively and let him hit the occasional home run on offense and let Hayden do the dirty work. That's a total game changer for a team and a program that we thought coming into the year, knowing that George had hurt his hamstring, oh gosh, what are they going to do? And Hayden Grohl has stepped up and done extremely well. I tell you, a game that under the radar to me is going to be extremely interesting. Week 6, Buckeye Division opener, Findlay Clay.
Yeah.
2 young teams. Findlay is so young at the skill position spot. They got very young wide receivers and some youth that plays all over the place. Clay is starting 6 or 7 10th graders in
they have a lot of
key
sophomores.
areas. Bryce Bestgrove at running back and linebacker, Landon Eccleberry, of course.
Brandon Vargas.
Jimmy Durr, who had a couple of touchdowns in the Bowling Green game a couple of weeks ago. That's kind of going to be, to me, the matchup that will determine where I place them in 2026 in preseason. Because those teams are going to be top 3, maybe top 4, certainly in the Buckeye Division. That's going to be fascinating. Right now, though, you got to take the crunchy with the smooth, so to speak. And there are going to be hiccups. There's going to be miscues. But it's the cost of doing business when you have to play so many young kids. And I know Coach Pennington is thrilled with how hard and how aggressively they're playing. They're doing a lot well. The trouble is when you're young, those mistakes get magnified and amplified, and it ends up leading to 90 and 65-yard interception returns
You have
against
to
you.
feel for the Clay defense. Like we've talked multiple weeks now on this podcast
They're
about
so
how
good.
well they are playing. They fly to the ball, and then you look in this game, 23 points. Well, 2 of those were pick sixes. This defense has played their tails off. And Landon Eccleberry, again, we've talked about him, so talented. He's a sophomore. He's still got to figure things out. He's still got to learn things and not letting those mistakes compound into another one or feeling like I got to push the ball now to make plays. That's something the guys got to learn, something the young guys got to learn.
Yeah.
And he's, tremendously talented.
And he's gone from one community to another, from one system to another. Yeah. So it's not quite starting fresh because you still know what varsity football feels like. But you're relearning a lot, and also there's more of an emphasis on him running the football, which he didn't really have to do at Findlay last year. Yeah. He's kind of having to do it at Clay now, and that's another element that's being thrown at him.
That culture at Napoleon. Coach 𝗦𝗽's got them boys playing tough. They are number 8 right now in the Division IV Region 14 playoff standings. Yes, I know it's only week 5, but we've got eyes on it already. Don't you worry. So they're in the playoffs. Clay just inside, tied at 11th in the Division II Region 6 standings. And now we go to our clip of the week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Hit it, Cisco. You know, I've done a tremendous job of making us find clips that Mason should be pretty familiar with, and boy, a beauty was this one. Braden Heitmeyer, how? It's been almost a week since I saw this happen for the first time. Still, how?
I said on our 2-man for Sports Nightly after this game, there are things in this job that'll keep you awake at night, and for me, I've got all of these equations kind of spinning around my head.
The math.
How in the world physically did he make this happen? Because you look at this, it's on the left foot with no angle at all, and the way the ball's rotating, it's kind of an outswinger. So how he managed to thread the needle in
Unreal.
there that's one of the best high school soccer goals I've ever seen in person. Ironically, the other one was also at Southview. Isaiah Moore's a few years ago, 5-4 winner in the district against Northview. It's a really good corner. It skims off. I think it's Zach Gray, the left back, who kind of nods it over. And Braden Heitmeyer, I mean, he said afterwards, we asked him, how'd you do it? And the answer was, I don't know.
I just kicked the ball.
I just hit it, and it happened. But he is one of the great individual talents in our area in boys soccer right now. And I am so thrilled to see him get his flowers on our podcast, because that is something special. If there are 3 better individual plays this year that end up for Play of the Year at the Honors in the spring, this will have been an exceptional year of high school
sports. It is
sports.
In my notes. Play of the Year nominee. Now the onus goes to Justin for making sure that makes our list.
It's on the list. It is on the list. And for those who might not know, we have a continuous running list for all sports, both boys and girls, from August all the way through May, essentially. And, this is terrific. Here's what I think. You see a quick, tight shot there. You see, I call this off-season weight room goal, because this is power. It's not just the angle; it's the power
Got to put
behind
some speed on that ball.
More people are right-handed, right-footed than left-footed. I don't know, Braden. Do you know, Mason, if Braden is left-footed?
I believe he is right-footed, but it's a testament to what he does and how he does it. That he's a 2-footed soccer player, which is extraordinary.
Which is extremely valuable on the soccer field for this very reason, and a myriad of others. So a coach has got to love this. But I call that, look at, he's got a little quad. As you can see, the quads bulging right there. I love the weight room action there. You see a little tighter shot coming up right there. Yep.
Flex
quads,
on him, Braden Heitmeyer.
To the back of the net.
My honorary clip of the week, though, also Landon Schaefer, the kicker touchdown for TC. You don't get a lot of those. If you want more Braden Heitmeyer,
was awesome.
Or you want more Landon Schaefer, you head over to our TikTok at BCSN Sports and check them out. But now I'm going to tell you where the belt is headed this week. We're going to Sylvania. Man, the Cougars showed up and showed out for you guys last week at Game Day Tailgate. A ton of fun. They brought the energy. They are our student section of the week this week. The Cougars are a big matchup with Perrysburg. See if they can stay healthy, keep things going right this week when Perrysburg comes to town. But the energy they brought to you guys at Game Day Tailgate, Justin, was so much fun.
It was great. A shout out to Trent Riggs, Southview baseball player, student section leader. Had a great sign. He said,
Game Day Tailgate over the Pat McAfee Show, baby.
Pat McAfee Show and ESPN
College Game Day.
I certainly agree with that.
Thank you, Mason. We want all the fans we can
buttered.
get. The bandwagon never gets full. It's always available for all of our fans. We love that show. It's great energy. Again, hats off to Southview, not just the student section. Band, cheerleaders were there. It was a great environment. Didn't go the way they wanted from 7 o'clock onward, but still.
They brought it.
It was a great environment, and we kind of always up the ante every year. That's what we're trying to do, build a better atmosphere for tailgate, and we'll be heading to the Glass Bowl for St. John, St. Francis.
Now the onus, man, they've set a high standard for what Game Day Tailgate is supposed to look like. Knights better bring it this Friday, but we're bringing the belt to Sylvania, and now it is time for a big matchup. Central Catholic taking on De La Salle. And Mason mentioned at the beginning of the show, as of right now, Central Catholic 20th in the Division III Region 10 standings for the playoffs. Not a lot of times we hit week 5 of a season and Central Catholic is not a playoff team. We do think, I think all of us can agree that will right itself as the season goes on.
Yeah.
They have battled an insane schedule, and they've gotten better throughout it. There's been high points, and the real high point, I think, of looking at it is, man, this defense is playing their tails off. Vic Singleton had a 75-yard scoop and score last week. You had, I wrote it down. Hold on. Where's my notes? There it is. Robert Campbell, that's what it was. 2 sacks in the win against Brother Rice. Great job by that defense. And now I think the big thing for me is Ali Beydoun just has to manage the ball, right? No turnovers, make smart choices, get the ball out to guys like Sherrod Vaughn, Preston Frizzell, let Jeremiah Fuller work. Just manage the game, learn as a sophomore or a junior now, and keep rolling.
100%. I think that they learned a lot about themselves. Coach Dempsey told me when I was at practice earlier this week where they know their weaknesses because they were exploited in the first 3 weeks against very good teams. So he made the contrast that there could be some 3-0 teams out there or 4-0 teams or 3-1 teams who don't know their weaknesses because they have not been exploited because they really haven't played anybody good. And I know there's some wiggle room there in the sense of you schedule out games a year or years in advance and you don't know what type of roster is going to be on the other side of the field. But still, that they got to win. And I don't care if it's a perennial state power program like Central Catholic. You got to have that taste of a victory of, okay, the hard work from Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to Friday night pays off. You have to have that little pat on the back or just a mental reminder that, oh, okay, hey, we can end up on the correct side of the scoreboard. But I will push back a little bit, Brandon, on your assumption or assertion that we will see that correct itself. Yes, Central Catholic is going to win games, but no longer 16 teams in the playoffs. It's now 12.
12, yeah.
And you got to beat some teams and climb up that ladder. And yes, if I'm a 1 seed or a 4 seed, 5 seed, and I have to eventually play a 12 seed, if Central Catholic just arbitrarily, hypothetically becomes a 12 seed. But Coach Dempsey told me something in the preseason that is now making a little bit more sense as the season has played out, because in order to accumulate playoff points, you have to win.
Right.
You don't get points when you lose. So it doesn't necessarily matter. You can test yourself for the playoffs, but when you don't get those wins like they did not get in the first 3 weeks, that can come back to bite you because you do have to win. And just like we alluded to in the UT conversation earlier, you have to have those teams that you do beat go on to have successful seasons.
Well, their margin for error is a lot higher than the teams around them in Region 10 right now, because those 3 losses to start the season are by no means bad losses. They'll get plenty of second-level points from all of that. On top of which, it's not that they can breathe easy right now with the schedule that's coming up, but they're not gasping for air anymore either. I mean, the really difficult part of the schedule is now done. So it does ease up a bit. And I don't think anybody at this table would be shocked if they end the regular season 7-3.
No.
They certainly could. And Justin is right, absolutely. The important thing was winning a football game, because now they remember what that's like and what they have to do. And I know they say you learn so much more from failure than success.
Success feels a whole lot better.
It's true until you win, and then you like the feeling of success a whole lot more. And they're going to have to win differently than, because we're used to seeing them just throttle people. And when I talked to Stephen Adams last week, the Findlay coach, before they played Southview, he's been preaching to the guys, if we have to win 8-7, then by God, we're going to win 8-7. Forget what we've done in the past. This is our identity now. It might be Central's identity now. This might be not a rebuild, but not quite the reload that we're used to seeing, at least based on the first 3 games and the results. But now that they've won, in case of emergency, break glass, it should be so much easier the rest of the way. They don't have to get the first one anymore.
In case of emergency, head over to Cherry Street, check things out on Friday. We're also heading to Game of the Week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Hit it, Cisco. The Holy War at the Glass Bowl, St. John's, St. Francis. A lot of fun in this one. You have what has righted the ship at St. Francis in Coach 𝗦𝗀𝗀, and then Coach Joe Horn getting things rolling in the right direction, it feels like, for St. John's, but boy, this would be a huge jumpstart to the Joe Horn era, a win over St. Francis on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, remember last year, Josh Lemke, first-year coach.
First win in 10 years.
Stared at a decade-long losing streak to the rival, and they flipped the script 44-30, the final score in that one at St. John's. This one at the Glass Bowl. Tailgate will be there. This is us versus them. This is the game that is not just talked about for a week. It's talked about all season long, all sports, Titans versus Knights. So this is talked about constantly. The athletes, I think, on both teams match up pretty well. I think that St. John's is doing the right things. They've had their struggles. St. Francis has had their struggles with some turnovers and their lone loss to Bishop Dwenger at Fort Wayne. This is a game where you got to let it fly. You can't be nervous. You got to accept a punch and then be able to get up and return a punch. That's what this game is all about, especially between these two teams. Not just a rivalry, but distinctly these two teams in 2025. I think St. John's has got to block better. Coach Horn admitted that to me. I think Coy Hammock, their quarterback, has settled in. He's playing solidly. They need to sustain drives, not shoot themselves in the foot. On the flip side for St. Francis, Coach Lemke told me that KJ Collins-Walker, he's a freshman quarterback, and he had some pick sixes against Bishop Dwenger. But he put it this way, Coach did. He said, we don't have to start him. We want to start him. So I thought that resonates even as a freshman. He has done the job. So they got to believe, just like they did last year, believed as a team, and then believe in the hard work will pay dividends. That work ethic that they put in, that's the key ingredient in a game like this.
So for all the eyes on Joe Horn and that St. John's team, and how far have they come in such a short
4
time?
weeks.
For me, it's a better barometer of KJ Collins-Walker than it is anything else, because it's fine to start at quarterback as a freshman in a big program, but it's one thing to stare down Waite and Bishop Dwenger, a school from out of state that these kids probably hadn't heard of until they went on the schedule. Sandusky Perkins, a program with some great recent history. Clyde last week. None of that means nearly as much on a personal, intrinsic level that a rival in St. John's, in the bright lights of the Glass Bowl. We're going to see how big his eyes get when he gets those first few snaps.
Yeah.
And it's fine to be physically ready to play. Are you emotionally ready to play against a rival in a game that means so darn much after the long losing streak was ended last year? Can you start a winning streak now? I'm going to be so interested to be following from elsewhere. I'm working the strongman competition this weekend. So interested to follow how he fares against this St. John's team, who, by the way, second week in a row, St. John's has played against a freshman quarterback. River Rouge started one last week as well. Somebody that's very young, very talented, obviously not the finished article yet. If St. John's can turn him over early or force KJ into some early little miscues, mistimings, et cetera, that's going to go a long way towards St. John's getting the win.
Yeah, I think my key I have written down is ball control for St. John's, right? This is a St. Francis team that has weapons. They are explosive. We've seen Kashawn, Titus Richardson have long scores the last couple of weeks. We know about Eli Beal, Collins-Walker, Jayden Houston. Ball control, don't make this a shootout, and I think that's their best chance. But St. John's is scoring double the amount of points they were last season. Joe Horn era is off to a good start already. We want to know who you think is going to bring home the win Friday in the Glass Bowl. Let us know over on our X poll that closes Thursday or tomorrow if you're live over on X. But for now, 30 seconds of Buffalo Wild Wings will wrap this show up. Hit it, Cisco.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Hey, we want some games. Let's hit it. Brought to you by Midas, Game Day Nation, Game Day Tailgate, of course, 6:30 and 7 o'clock. And then you've got St. John, St. Francis, De La Salle Central, a fun one, Findlay and Fremont Ross down there in Fremont Ross, Rossford and Lake, Norwalk and Edison, Bellevue and Perkins in Erie action.
Let me throw you some names for that St. John, St. Francis game. Ramon Mays, Carter Washington, Xavier Weibert, Mike Cherry, Hashawn Lamb, Ethan Kimmons, Paul Amend on the Titans side. On St. Francis' side, Eli Beal, Jermaine Polk, Jayden Houston, Deion Banks, Jaden Berry, Ryan Hill, Daniel Hyler-Trailer. I'm putting it on you guys. You guys are the guys who got to show up and show out. That's how you get a win for your team against your rival.
Rossford Lake could be sneaky fun, too. That might be a race to 49 points. And Strongman Champions
There it
League,
is.
first time in the United States ever this weekend, Friday evening in downtown Toledo, Saturday afternoon, downtown Sandusky. You'll get to see Canada's strongest cop, Tristan Hoth, among others.
That is
Constable
a
in
sentence
Edmonton.
nobody at home thought they were going to hear today. Canada's strongest cop. We've got the strongest podcast set, and we'll be back every single Wednesday for a brand new episode. Follow at Justin Feldkamp. Follow at M. Lowry BCSN. Of course, follow at BCSN Sports. We'll see you right here next Wednesday.